Hi everyone, I'm back again, and I'm going to be doing the Synastry chart between David Beckham and his wife Victoria. There's a lot of really nice things in this chart, and it's a very good indication of how all of the good things in a chart between two people should really outweigh the negative aspects. And I think in this case it does. However, there's a fly in the ointment, so to speak, and that has to do with his cheating allegations, which I will get to. Her Pholus and Jupiter conjuncts his Amor, Vesta, Night, and Lilith by 1 degree. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, and since it's holding hands with Pholus, we have a huge explosion here of the energies of the asteroids that it's making a conjunction to. So in this case, his Amor, and that has to do with love. Vesta has to do with devotion. Night, that has to do with he'll always have her back. It's pretty much self-explanatory. He will defend her. And her Pholus and Jupiter is also conjuncting his Lilith, and that has to do with raw sexuality. So there's this very strong pull between the two of them, and there's eroticism involved, which is a good thing. Now, let's go back to Vesta. Vesta has to do, like I said, devotion, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will prevent cheating. And I'm going to get to those aspects. His Pholus conjuncts her Venus. So she felt a very strong love for him, I think right from the very beginning, because like I said, Pholus explodes when it touches. And since her Venus is holding hands with Eros, that's eroticism. Deigenera, that has to do with victimhood. Now, in this case, since Venus is holding hands with Eros and Deigenera, and it's all within 2 degrees, she was a victim of love that she felt. She couldn't negate her feelings. They were very strong. His Chiron, Psyche, Ceres, conjuncts her sun and Aeternitus. This is interesting as well, because Chiron conjuncting her sun, very important luminary. And Chiron can be known as the wounded healer. However, when you have healing in a relationship due to Chiron, you have to have pain as well. There's a flip side to the coin here. So he did bring her pain. And I think it has to do with the cheating. So at this point in time, she obviously forgave him and there was healing involved. Now, no one is admitting to this, but I'm going to get to it and I'll tell you what I found. His Psyche and Ceres also conjuncts her sun, and Psyche has to do with love, passion, and soul. And Ceres is an unconditional love. So these two are not going to get a divorce. And obviously, they've been together for a very long time. So if I had done this chart when they first got together, I would have said, you guys are going to last a really long time, because the asteroid Aeternitus is also conjuncting her sun and those other asteroids of his holding hands. And Aeternitus has to do with longevity, eternity. It's a guaranteed foreverness. And there are also planetary aspects that coincide with that. Specifically, his Saturn trines her Venus. And Saturn is the glue that will hold this love together. And that's at 3 degrees. So that's pretty tight. Now I'm going to get to the flip side of the coin in the relationship. And everyone has, there's 2 sides to every relationship. His Sedna in the 12th house conjuncts her asteroid Loos by 3 degrees. Sedna has to do with betrayal. And since his Sedna is in the 12th house, that represents things that are hidden, instances that happen behind the scenes, secrets. And it's conjuncting her Loos, 3 degrees. Now, if I had done this chart many years ago, I would not have seen that. But there are other aspects involved here that back up the allegations of his infidelity. His Poseidon conjuncts her Lilith. That to me is a cosmic guarantee of indiscrepancies in the relationship. And like I said, cheating. Poseidon is the brother of Zeus, and they are both prolific cheaters, and it's conjuncting her Lilith, which is a strong sexual, it has to do with raw sexuality. So that's, to me, guaranteed. Now, if I had done this chart, like I said, 25 years ago when they first got together, and I had said to her, you have to be careful and be prepared for the possibility of infidelity, people would have thrown tomatoes at me, and she probably wouldn't have believed me, but it's right here written in the chart. Also, there's planetary aspect to coincide with my analysis of these asteroids, and that is his Neptune is squaring her Venus 0 degrees. I've talked many times about Neptune squaring Venus, and it's one of my least favorite aspects in a compatibility chart because Neptune has to do with deception, always, especially when it's squaring Venus, the planet of love. And since this orb is at 0 degrees, that's the tightest. And his Neptune is in the 7th house, which rules marriage and committed relationships. Her Lilith conjuncts his moon 3 degrees and his midheaven. And this is nice as well because you want nice things conjuncting your moon, which is a very important luminary besides the sun. And Lilith has to do with raw sexuality. So again, there's this very strong sexual pull and magnetic attraction between these two. But there's love there as well. Like I said before, concerning Amor and Sirius and Psyche. All those are very strong love asteroids. Her Boda conjuncts his descendant 1 degree. And Boda is the Spanish word for soul. I'm sorry, the Spanish word for wedding. And since it's conjuncting his descendant, that's a guarantee there's going to be a wedding. Now, there are instances in synastry charts where one person's Boda conjuncts another person's angle and they don't get married. However, if you're living together for a very long time, to me, that would signify a marriage. Also, I forgot to mention about this Rebecca Loos lady that he allegedly cheated with. His Loos asteroid conjuncts his IC 0 degrees, and it's right there written in the chart. You cannot negate this. To me, this just signifies that there was, I think, that he was unfaithful to her. And the IC is a very important angle. It's right, sits at the bottom of the chart, opposite the midheaven. So whatever conjuncts your IC from the other person, it will happen behind the scenes. And like I said before, his Sedna is in the 12th house, and that has to do with things that are hidden as well, and that has to do with betrayal. So see how this is all coming together? It's like putting pieces of a puzzle and the picture forms. Her Uranus and Lysistrata conjuncts his vertex 2 degrees. And Lysistrata has to do with sexual manipulation. It has to do with maybe withholding sex or using sex as a weapon. And her Lysistrata is conjuncting the planet Uranus, so we have this energy of you're not knowing what to expect. It can happen all of a sudden, and it's unstable. And she's very exciting to him as well because of the Uranus. He never knows what to expect from her, but it's not all of the time because Uranus is not predictable. And since it's conjuncting his vertex at 2 degrees, that's pretty tight. And the vertex is another really important point of a synastry chart. You will receive those energies because it's like a second ascendant. Also, his Sphinx in his natal chart conjuncts his North Node 2 degrees in the 7th house, which rules committed relationships. And the asteroid Fink is, those energies are pretty much self-explanatory. He can be a Fink. I don't know him personally, obviously, but the Fink has to do with disloyalty as well. His narcissist conjuncts her north node 2 degrees. And whatever planets or asteroids conjunct her north node from the other person, this will mean it will be one of the themes of the relationship or a basic theme. And his narcissist conjuncting her north node, well, that's pretty much self-explanatory. I would think that it's all about him, and he probably wears the pants in this relationship, and he can be very demanding. And I know people say, well, she seems like the one that would be very, be like, and you know what that stands for. But she's got this sour puss on her face. So maybe it's because of his narcissist ways, or could be a lot of different things. Her amour conjuncts his Mercury and Dejanira. Again, there's the love asteroid, it's conjuncting his Mercury. So he told her, and they had conversations about their deep love for each other and how they were victims about concerning the love. So this is coincides with the other nice placements as well. Her Pan conjuncts his Sun 0 degrees, and Pan has to do with music and partying and like a lot of parties and enjoyment, but music is there as well, and it's conjuncting his Sun 0 degrees. Very important luminary, and that's what she brought to him, her music. Her Mars conjuncts his Astarte 1 degree and A Eternatus. There's A Eternatus again. Mars, fire and power, and Astarte has to do with blow-ups and arguments. So there's a lot of arguments in this relationship, and if I had known her exact time of birth, I would probably be able to determine what the arguments were about more specifically, but I don't. So I had to leave out her moon and her angles in this Synastry chart analysis. But her Mars is also conjuncting his A Eternatus as well. So again, they're going to be together for a very long time, and they stuck through everything. All of the issues in their relationship, obviously I don't know all of them, but the infidelity was one that was specifically noted in the media. Her Nessus conjuncts his Venus and Ishtar. Again, there's blow-ups and arguments. Normally, Nessus conjuncting Venus is a very huge red flag. It can mean a lot of abuse, and the relationship will not last forever. And since her Nessus is conjuncting his Venus, there's abuse here through arguments, and maybe behind the scenes she was very not nice and nasty. And but there's again Astarte, also her Mars and Astarte, but Eternatus is there, so they're going to stay together and stick through thick and thin through this whole relationship. So that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed this analysis, and I'm going to be back soon with other Synastry charts. Hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop. See you again soon.